Hey, so today we're going to be talking about more modern male stereotypes and explaining them because a lot of the modern ones are actually kind of true, but most people don't know the reason behind them. We're going to be referencing 3 videos I've made in the past. One of them is this one here, helping people through suicide. It's an FTR video. Basically, amazing advice for people who have struggled with suicidal thoughts. If you have, I urge you to watch this video and I hope it helps you. But obviously, it's more so geared towards men because men make up over 70% of all suicide victims. Obviously, this video here is very important where I talk about the truth about feminism and the oppression that men face, which has been horrible, especially since the SJW culture has started. And finally, this one here, Masculinity Is Not Toxic, where I talk about the modern idea of toxic masculinity and effectively explain how it is true, but not in the way that SJWs think it is. Anyway, we are seeing a lot of things these days where people are effectively attacking men because manly traits are dying off. Part of this is how SJWs want them to die off and stay at the exact same time. Of course. Now, some people look at toxic masculinity with its actual definition, not definition, but what it really is. Which is basically not that being a man is toxic, but that some toxic traits that men do are expected of men and can be toxic not to other people, but to men. For example, a male stereotype all throughout history is don't show emotion and be tough. That's something that not just SJWs believe in, but people in general believe in. But it's very toxic towards men to actually do that. It's literally mentally and emotionally damaging. That's one example of many. If you want to hear all the other ones, just watch this video. But that's basically the kind of thing I want to talk about. How a lot of traits of men, some of the bad ones from the past are like forced to stay today, like not expressing yourself or paying for everything, doing all the work in the dating world, losing everything in divorce, all that shit that men have dealt with all throughout history. But then you have even more toxic things that happen in modern day towards men. For example, feminists being like, treat me equal, but then when we treat you equal, you call us sexist for it because, again, we have to specify. Women are treated way better in modern day, but they think they're treated worse because they're stupid. So when they demand equality, they get treated worse because women are treated better by default. If you want to be equal, that means you give up your privileges. It doesn't mean you get more, because that's not equal. You lose them because you already have more. They believe equality is treat us better, but the reality is it's treat you worse because you already currently can't be treated better. So to be equal, you have to be treated worse. So when men do things like that, for example, let's say that the modern equal world, like the real equal world, is things like, okay, you want equality? Go mow the lawn, go shovel the snow, open that jar by yourself, fight for yourself, defend yourself, stand up for yourself, go fight in the military. Go work in jobs that are very difficult and are usually male jobs, like construction worker, coal miner, engineer, plumber, etc. So, all the feminists demanded equality, so we said, okay, go do these very difficult things or go have a very difficult life. And then when they experience what it's like to be a man, they said, oh God, what the fuck? Why are you making me, an innocent little woman, do all that work? Because you asked to. But then when they actually experience it, they don't want it. So modern feminism is not about equality, as we've already proven multiple times. Modern feminism is actually about being treated the same for the good things, but then treated better for the bad things. So to them, equality just means treated better, which, again, we're in modern day, so it's no surprise that stupid people actually believe that equality and treated better are the same thing, but that's the world we live in. Anyway, the point is we're going to be going over some of the more recent male stereotypes, well, not really stereotypes, but things that people are noticing about men these days that's causing the average person and women to be like, why are men such babies, kind of thing. And I'm going to explain why men are actually doing this, because these things are weird, but they're true. I wrote a little list of them. Let's start off here. These days, men actually want to be cuddled and coddled more than women. Well, I don't know if they necessarily want it more, but they seem to be getting it more. It's actually more common now for the girlfriends to cuddle men, coddle men, or even spoon men in bed. A lot of men won't admit to this, but it actually is true. Another example is a lot of men wanting their girlfriends to stand up for them, when throughout history it's always only been about men standing up for women. Another one is men now wanting compliments from women. Now again, another fact we know is that women get complimented just for existing. A woman just has to walk down the street or be your coworker and they will get compliments just for breathing oxygen. Whereas a man will go his whole life without receiving a single compliment. And throughout history, men usually just keep it in. They don't really say anything. They don't ever cry about it and go, why doesn't anybody compliment me? Men usually just keep those emotions in and just accept the fact that he'll never ever get one. But today, men are actually a lot more aware of the fact that women get compliments and they don't. So men are starting to crave them more, either from random people or their own partner. Another one is, you may have noticed, in fact, people even make a meme out of this, but there actually is a bad truth behind it. But first, I'll tell you what the meme shows. And I've seen videos on TikTok of this, where, let's say it's a couple hanging out at home, and the girlfriend leaves the house, to go on like a weekend vacation with some friends or something. And the man is acting all excited, like, yeah, I get the house to myself. And then 1 hour later, he's all sad, depressed, bored, has nothing to do. He's staring out the window, wondering when she's coming home. There's reasons for all this stuff. Another one, and this one is a literal statistic, how men are statistically more likely to leave a relationship when the female comes down with a serious illness. That's an actual fact you can look up. Now, there's truth behind every single one of these, and I'm going to explain all of them. Everything I said in the beginning of the video are true factors, but I'm going to tell you the biggest factor. Men, their whole lives, their entire lives, even as far back as when we're kids, we are told that our ultimate goal in life, and everyone has been told this, you can deny it all you want, but every single boy, teenager, a grown man has been told this their entire life. And we're told by everybody, we're told by parents, we're told by teachers, everything, that our goal in life is to find a woman and make her happy. Happy wife, happy life. I talked about this in another video, I think it's one of these three, but the point is, that is what men are told their entire lives, that their purpose is to just only work on himself enough to make a woman happy. Not work on himself to make him happy. Not grow a life to make him happy. Not make money to make him happy. Men are told their entire lives that their goal in life is to make money, get a car, get a home, be happy, do this and that, but only to benefit and take care of a woman. That's all men are ever told. And this thing is in men's mind. It is in all men's mind. It's in my mind. It's in every single man's mind. These things are in our... Even if we are aware of how bad this is, to a subconscious level, it will still be in our head in the background, and it is still a thing that we think about our whole lives. It becomes our goal. And if we don't have a woman, we're considered pathetic, losers, loners, all that kind of shit, right? A man's goal in life is to find a woman, and it's not his fault that he has this goal. Sure, every man wants a partner, but the reason why it's so embedded in the minds of men is because society put it there from when we were children. Now, on the flip side, what are women told that their goal is from day one? Ever since women were little girls, again, parents, teachers, etc., women are told, be independent, be strong, make your own money, do you. Don't do someone else. Don't give yourself to some pathetic man. Be you, girl. Do your thing. Do you. It's all about you. Our society is created around the dynamic that a man must be constructed to make himself effectively the woman's servant. And women's brains are constructed around the notion to be served, to have everything bought for them. And anything that they can do, whether if it's work or whatever, they are meant to work for themselves. A woman's money is a woman's money, but a man's money is still a woman's money. These are facts of our civilization. And by the way, these things are not just since the SJW culture started. These are things all throughout history. Ask your parents, your grandparents, and even they will tell you, yeah, happy wife, happy life has been a thing for like over 100 years, maybe even longer. Because that's what society has taught. And that is a fact. These things have damaged men to such an extreme degree. Now, granted, it's existed for over 100 years, but it wasn't really damaging until the SJW culture. Why? Because while these things were technically true many years ago, back in the day, women were grateful for it, right? If a man used all of his money on his woman, granted, I'm not saying that no older woman is a gold digger, but it was much less common. It was more common for women to appreciate, the men working full-time. She did her half of taking care of the home and the kids, cooking for her family. That was her half. So it wasn't just, here's my money, here's my money, here's my money. It was more like, here's my money, and in return, I will take care of the home, I will take care of the kids, I will make this house into a home, make it comfortable, and I will take care of my family. You provide for the family, and I will take care of the family. That was the marriage dynamic all throughout history. But today, since the SJW culture started, that dynamic no longer exists. Male stereotypes are still forced, but female stereotypes are not. Now, these things, while they are extremely sexist, are not actually considered sexist because of SJWs. For a man to do all of the financial giving and give his life to the woman and basically be nothing if he can't provide, those stereotypes against men are still true today, and they're not considered sexist even though they actually are. But female stereotypes like take care of the home, take care of the kids, provide for the family, etc., those are considered sexist in today's day and age. Which is why the current dynamic is more so like men, you do everything and women do nothing, except look pretty. It's terrible. Now, how does that tie into the stereotypes I mentioned earlier and how true they are? Well, let's go through them. Men wanting to be cuddled. The truth is, with the way men are treated today, and how fucking awful it is to really be a man in modern day, and how men are never taken care of. Men today aren't even considered to be people anymore. We are considered disposable if we don't have money or something to provide. Whereas a woman is valued just for breathing air. That's all. Literally, I'm not wrong, okay? All a woman has to do today is wake up out of bed and she's considered an angel. If a man is not working full-time and is a full-time dad and is providing the world, he's just, disposable, who gives a shit? So it's no wonder that when a man gets in a relationship, deep down, he really does want to be cuddled by his woman because he's tired. He's fed up with not just his own personal life, but what he sees in society. It's so draining and damaging. I understand why men today are the ones who want to be the little spoon. It's true. It's just straight up true. Here's another one. Men wanting girls to stand up for them. This is not just because men are weaker now, although I wouldn't be surprised if we were. Again, everything that men go through puts us down and makes us weak. But it's also the fact that nobody ever stands up for us. Men, especially in modern day, are constantly torn down by society. It's no wonder that men want someone to stand up for them. So when they get a girlfriend, they ask their girlfriend to do it. Because she's tough, she's loved by society. And if she does stand up for her man, she's congratulated for doing so. Granted, the men are looked at and said, what, you need her to stand up for you, you weakling? But it's no wonder that men want it, even if they're insulted for it. Men wanting compliments now. Men have just noticed. It's more noticeable. It's always been true, but it's more noticeable now because of things like social media. Men are just tired of women being complimented for doing nothing. But the man is just there, never even told he looks handsome his whole life. It's no wonder men want some fucking compliments these days. Or even the thing that became a trend on TikTok, but is actually true, where when there's a couple and the woman leaves the house, even for like a weekend, most men genuinely feel like, oh, I got nothing to do now. If a man leaves, the woman has lots to do. Visit friends and all this kind of stuff. You might be thinking, well, what, Matt? Men can't visit their friends? Of course they can. But the impact feeling of loneliness and like I got nothing to do is so much stronger on a man when his girlfriend leaves. And here's why. Remember how I was explaining how men are trained their entire lives to just find a woman and make her happy? Think about it. Men are trained their entire lives to only do things for other people. So he finally gets a girlfriend who he effectively lives for, and then she leaves the house. Even if it's like a weekend getaway, it doesn't matter. Men still feel that way. It's like, oh, but what do I do? Literally what goes on in men's head, and again, say I'm wrong all you want. I'm right. This is all factual. What happens in men's brains psychologically is, I basically live for her, but she's gone for the weekend. So now I'm not doing anything. Men almost lose their purpose without a partner. Whether if you're single or you have a partner but she goes away for a week. Once the partner is no longer there, regardless of the reason why, men genuinely feel useless. That's why the joke on TikTok has a lot of truth behind it. And then finally, the stat I found, I'll say it again, this is a literal stat, you can look it up, that men are statistically more likely to leave a relationship when the female comes down with a serious illness. This is true. A lot of people go, how fucking dare you, what a piece of shit to leave your wife just because she has an illness. If you had an illness, she wouldn't leave. You're right. But actually the reason behind this is way deeper than just men are assholes, because that's not even the case. I'll tell you the real reason why this happens. The real reason why men have a higher chance of leaving a relationship when the wife has a serious illness is because, again, men spend their entire lives living for other people, taking care of other people, looking for a wife to make happy, etc. At some point, men want to be the ones who are taken care of, at least a little bit. But if his wife comes down with a serious illness, he basically gets to a point of like, I can't live like this anymore. I cannot live doing nothing but taking care of other people, including my wife. And now that she has an illness, I have nothing. I have to take care of her even more now. Nobody's taking care of me. There's no 50-50. It was barely 50-50 before. Now it's even less of 50-50. Men genuinely, and you can call this asshole if you want. I'm just telling you the real reason. Men just feel like they have nothing left when that happens. And it's terrible if a man leaves his wife because of an illness. It's not like it's her fault. But what men feel is the reason why he will leave. He just gets to a point of like, oh my God, my whole life has been nothing but torture. I'm torn down because of being a man, forced to work all the time, or else I'm called a deadbeat or whatever. And now my wife is down with a serious illness. I feel like nothing. I feel like I can't do anything. I can't provide anything. And men just feel so beat down when that happens that they just say fuck it and leave. Men are not trying to be assholes when this happens. They're not saying, oh, you have an illness, you probably can't have sex properly anymore, bye bitch. That's not what it's about. What men feel inside is an extreme sense of uselessness. So the only way out they feel is to just leave the relationship. That's the actual truth. Whereas women, and if a man comes down with a serious illness, because women have so much support, right? In our society, women have way more support than men. Both societal support from friends, family, just all that stuff, monetary, the court system, women have more support in that sense. And then even like with issues, right? Because again, women have more shelters despite the fact that they need less shelters. The reason why is because there's less homeless women. But again, women have more shelters despite the fact that men need more shelters. So there's all these safety nets for women that men don't have. That's why a woman is a lot more willing to stay with a man who has an illness, because she loses less by staying, whereas if a man stays, he loses everything. This is the truth of what goes on with modern male stereotypes, and none of them are good, they're all terrible. But I just thought I would explain a little bit as to why masculinity has changed so much. Because it has, and SJW culture is the reason why. Bye.